Hey, I'm Josh Paulson, a story engineer and speaker on writing. I teach people story theory and what makes story work, and my favorite technique for growing as a writer is to reverse engineer other stories. That's what this podcast is all about. And today, we're studying The Amazing World of Gumball, Season 1, Episode 12, titled Ghost. Warning, spoilers for the first 2 minutes of this episode are ahead. Today, we're going to look at signing characters up. Here's why this can be so much fun. A lot of times characters will not want to go where we want them to go. Let's say that we want Bob to teach an elementary school class and he no way wants to do it. Well, we have a few tricks up our sleeves as writers, and one of them is by having another character sign him up to do it. So maybe it's a really good friend or a bad one, or somebody that for some reason other people just assume they have some sort of authority. They have some sort of... their sway, or they're just right, or you know what, you're such a good friend of theirs, absolutely, you know them well enough that you know they would just say yes themselves, you can say yes for them. There's some sort of persuasiveness or some sort of reason that we assume that close friends of people can make them do things for us, and it's kind of messed up, but you can use this in your writing. So in order to sign another character up, you need to have a second party, somebody who's between them, and then you have the third party who needs the help. And the friend, quote unquote, signing them up has to be aware of a problem and make the connection that, hey, my friend can solve the problem. And we can take this kind of process of signing up a character for something they don't want to do in about 5 steps. So here's how it works. In a conversation between a third party and a middle party, the person signing up the character we want to get into a mess, we are going to have the following 5 steps. Number 1, object of complaint. Number 2, subject of complaint. Number 3, subject of solution. Number 4, object of solution. And number 5, implementation. So object of complaint is generally you are surrounded by, or you see what is going on, how bad it is. The middle party's like, oh my gosh, I feel so bad for you. Look at how rough this is for you. This gives a really strong emotional urgency because they might have heard about it, but now they see how bad it is and they feel so bad for their good friend, the third party, and they really need help. And I understand now. So now that said, just because you're aware of what's going on doesn't mean that it's brought up or that it's openly talked about. So you need the subject of complaint. You need number 2, you need it to actually be brought up. Oh my gosh, this is more than I can handle. I don't think I can handle. Oh, middle party, is there anything that you could do? Or maybe middle party just feels some sort of urge, like I should help them. And so then we go to number 3, subject of solution. Oh, if only I had somebody here to help me. So it's not just, oh, you know what, things are wrong, but there's something that starts looking for a solution. It's brought up. And so then there's number 4, object of solution. And the object of solution in this case would be the friend. Oh, I know a guy. Oh, I know somebody. They would be perfect for this. I'm sure they wouldn't mind. They love children. They love really long volunteer hours for things that they know nothing about or for causes that they aren't connected to in any which way. And then once you have the object of solution, you need to actually implement it. This all needs to actually work out. So, a key piece here though, for a character to be successfully signed up, they must either agree, whether or not it's completely willingly, or else they must have their disagreement ignored. So here's how it's displayed in this episode, and it's actually within the first 2 minutes of it. So you have the object of complaint. They're in a cafeteria surrounded by food that Carrie the ghost can't eat. The object of complaint is literally everywhere. We even see her try to eat some food and it just fall through her specter. So then we have the subject of complaint. So she's surrounded by the food, but she specifically mentions it.
Watching you two at lunchtime makes my afterlife a misery. I'm hungry.
And then we have the subject of the solution. And Carrie states,
I wish I still had a body.
Now we know what needs to happen for her to get what she wants, which is to eat. Then we have the object of solution, and this is where Darwin signs up Gumball.
Why don't you use Gumball? What? Me?
Really? You would do that for me?
And then we have the implementation, which is what this episode ends up being all about.
Great, thanks.
No, wait!
So here's how you could use this in your own episode. Let's say that we want Bob, the college professor who tends to lull his math majors to sleep and hates children. We want him to teach an elementary school class on introductory mathematics. He's probably not going to do it, at least not on his own. but maybe somebody else can make it happen. So we need someone close to Bob, or who is somehow seen as having authority to sign him up. Perhaps his girlfriend, Sally. So Sally's talking with a teacher at the school who hasn't had a day off in months. This can take place at the school. That way Sally can see how haggard her teacher friend is, and we have the object of complaint. She sees how serious it is, and she's like, "You really need a break." Sally feels for her. The teacher talks about how hard it is. The subject of complaint thus comes up. And then the teacher can quip, "If only I could get in a substitute teacher. The higher-ups have been pressuring me as if it's my responsibility to find one, and I don't know anyone." Aha, the subject of solution, and Sally knows the object of solution. "Oh, my boyfriend Bob teaches math. He'd be perfect." Implementation? That's when Bob comes in, persuaded by his girlfriend, who he doesn't want to disappoint. After all, it's just for one day, and he was taking the week off anyway, right? Ta-da! Bob is teaching elementary school. Obviously, we need to make sure these pieces all fit with the characters, but we've just found a way to get Bob right where we want him. In a room full of elementary school kids he would never want to connect with, having to get past his own dry speeches and dislike of children. Spoiler alert, we may have to sign Bob up for more than one elementary school class if our goal is for him to change. But if we just want to put him in an awkward situation and laugh at it, hey, we get some good comic relief this way. And with that, I think it's pretty safe to say, case closed. Thank you for listening. We'll be back with another episode next week. You can follow me on Twitter at Josh Paulison or check out my website, joshpaulison.com. If you sign up for the newsletter on the homepage, you will get podcast notes in your inbox every week. So you can not just listen to the podcast, but you can read and look through the notes. Have a fantastic week and take care, guys.